everyone, and welcome back to episode 52 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And I have an awesome guest for you again this week with our track and field sprinter from the Czech Republic, Eva Kubickova. I cannot wait for you all to hear my interview. I actually have two segments that I recorded with her per her request. As we recorded our original segment, and then she reached back out to me and said, "Hey, I have a topic that's very near and dear to me, and I would love to use my voice on your platform to make some noise regarding this sensitive but very important subject." And I was more than happy to oblige to that request. And it makes me so happy that she wanted to talk about body image and body dysmorphia and self confidence and identity outside of being an athlete and not just letting sports define you. It's a very awesome conversation with her, and I cannot thank her enough again for just wanting to connect, giving me her time, and being willing to be vulnerable and share so many sensitive subjects and topics on the podcast. We talk about her dealing with the death of her dad during her track career at OU and what that team atmosphere meant to her and how they supported her during that time. And then again, just her journey to OU and her track journey across the world representing her country, and then into that special segment about body dysmorphia and self-confidence and identity outside of sports. So I hope that you stay tuned for sure after this Sooner Headlines of the Week segment to listen to my conversation with Eva Kubickova. But first, I want to say a huge thank you again to my sponsors of the show for this year. As we start 2026, I have two awesome sponsors local to my area in Marvin's Place Art Gallery and Therapy to Go in Ardmore. Marvin's Place is a fine art gallery and listening room located in the Depot District in Ardmore, Oklahoma. You can come by and experience amazing artwork. And on Friday nights, visit their listening room, which is an intimate and unplugged venue. I can say that there is no other venue like this anywhere in the area. So if you get a chance, you're a music lover, like that unplugged sound and feel, come by and check them out for sure. They host singer-songwriters on Friday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And you can relax with a glass of wine or craft beer and enjoy some wonderful music. You can find more information on their social media and on their website at marvinsplace.gallery. Also, again, thank you to Therapy to Go in Ardmore, the funnest place in town to drive through for a drink. And you don't even have to get out of your car. They can bring all of your convenience store and liquor store goodies straight to your car window. They have a large variety of spirits as well as fountain drinks and snacks. So go by and see Allison, Melissa, and their crew and tell them that Sooner Girl Sports Pod sent you by. So we do not have an injury segment with Dr. Jason Leinen this week because we don't have anything. I did just want to mention a couple of things that actually Dr. Jason and I discussed last week, but wanted to reiterate what is going on. Trent Williams has a hamstring injury. He plays for the 49ers. They are going to the playoffs, so I'm not quite sure what his status is going into the postseason, but our thoughts and prayers go up to our former Sooner Trent Williams that he gets well soon, as he is a very active part of their team. Also, Porter Moser stated last week regarding Dayton Forsyth and Kai Rogers, they would not have been able to play last week regardless of the opponent due to their respective injuries. It was a tad bit concerning as we came into conference play this past Saturday. Dayton did not play on Saturday, not quite ready to go, but Kai Rogers was. Dayton's headed in the right direction. So just super thankful to not have a lot going on the injury front so far. Again, as we head into gymnastics season for our men and women and also the diamond sports coming up, as well, I will stay on top of the injuries as best I can. And when things come up and there's something to discuss, we will have a segment with Dr. Leinen, which may only be about once a month or so now this spring, depending on what's going on. But I will definitely stay on top of it and let everyone know if something major is going on, and we will definitely discuss. Okay, for this week's Sooner Headlines of the Week, a few things to discuss regarding football. It is portal season, and that is the hot topic on the gridiron right now as we head into the new year, into the spring, as the CFP playoffs are still taking place. Semifinals take place at the end of this week. National championship is on Monday evening, January 19th. For our Sooners in the NFL, as the playoffs start this weekend with wild card weekend, there are a few teams out on their bye with the number one seed holding out till divisionals, but this weekend is wild card weekend. And there's lots of Sooners represented on those teams, so be sure and check out that schedule and give them a watch for sure. Also, as of yesterday, Raiders defensive tackle Jonah Leilua, former Sooner, was 2 tackles away from matching Max Crosby's franchise record for the most tackles by a defensive lineman in their first 2 seasons. I did not hear an update, but regardless on whether he got those tackles or not, that is an incredible stat line. And as he said, he had no idea. It was pretty cool to be even in that type of category, similar to a player such as Max Crosby. So shout out to Jonah for representing Sooner Nations. Congrats to Nick Benito of the Denver Broncos. They are one of those number 1 teams who have the bye from the wild card weekend and will pick back up in divisionals the weekend after. But Nick was named the recipient of the 2025 Demarius Thomas Team MVP Award and the Darren Williams Good Guy Award, as voted on by Denver local media. Nick is the first ever winner of both of those awards. His excellence is noted on and off the field. So shout out again to Nick. Just an incredible accomplishment for him representing Sooner Nation on the NFL stage. Also, an update on a couple of our Sooner quarterbacks in the NFL. Unfortunately, Baker and the Bucs will not be making it to wild card weekend. They did beat Carolina in the last game of the regular season this past Saturday, but they needed a Saints win on Sunday over the Falcons to clinch that wild card bid. And unfortunately, the Falcons beat the Saints. So Baker and the Bucs are done for the season, and now in the off season, looking forward to the 2026 season. An unfortunate end to the season for Baker and the Bucs. Baker had a pretty decent year. They were just plagued by injuries and things down the stretch, and just they seemed to get beat so much in just the final minutes of games. I was honestly afraid they were going to blow that lead against Carolina on Saturday, but they definitely had to get that win to even have a chance to clinch a wild card bid. Unfortunately and ironically, they beat the Panthers on Saturday, but because the Saints got beat by the Falcons on Sunday, the Panthers still clinched their divisional and is moving on to the wild card. So just a crazy turn of events there for Baker and the Bucs toward the end of the season. But I know that myself and Sooner Nation have so much faith in him going forward, and we wish him all the best in the offseason to stay healthy and prepared for next season. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles, they rested their starters this past weekend. They did drop to a number 3 seed. They'll be playing in the wild card this coming Sunday afternoon against the San Francisco 49ers. That's a 3:30 game start on Sunday the 11th. On to Sooner football and the portal news and all the things. There have been reports that have not been made official yet by the university, but they do come from very reliable sources that Joe John Finley has been let go of his duties as tight end coach at Oklahoma. Again, has not been officially announced by the university, but there was an announcement on Instagram from Carson Kent, who went into the portal, making a statement that pretty much all but confirms Joe John's release of duties as Carson Kent announced his entrance into the portal. This decision was not an easy one. Oklahoma feels like home. If it's not up to my heart, I would never leave. At the end of the day, I have to make the best decision. I'm in the portal, and there is a continued search for a new tight ends coach at Oklahoma, and with the possibility of a return, giving that everything aligns. So that being said about Carson Kent, not saying he let the cat out of the bag, but again, nothing official from OU about Joe John's relief of duties, but all but confirmed that he has been let go, and we have lost tight ends to the portal. But again, hoping that all works out and we could perhaps get to keep Carson Kent. We've also picked up a couple of guys in the portal, which I will get to here shortly. But back to Joe John, I just wanted to show this that was put out on Twitter. Ultimately, the lack of offensive improvement and development at tight end is what sparked the decision to let Finley go. During his 5 seasons in Norman, he has recruited out of high school, not players who transferred into the program or inherited, but they totaled only 9 receptions for 84 yards and 2 touchdowns combined. Yikes. OU is currently in the midst of rebuilding the tight end room for the second consecutive season through the transfer portal. So here we go. A few updates on our current players that are graduating, going on to the draft. Jaron Canick and R. Mason Thomas have announced their intentions to go on to the draft as well. And East West Shrine Bowl, Jaron, Robert Spears Jennings, Fabechi Nueyu. And for the Hula Bowl, Demonic Williams, that was just announced, he will be participating in that. We have a lot of players in the portal. I'm just going to read off some of these names I know that you will recognize. Troy Everett, Luke Baklenko, Devon Jordan, cornerback. He actually has received an offer from Oklahoma State, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Michael Hawkins and his brother Malik Hawkins have committed to West Virginia, the last scholarship QB to sign with the Sooners out of high school and finish his collegiate career at OU with Blake Bell. And that was a good 10 or 12 years ago. So here's hoping that Jet New or Bo Bentley could snap that drought for us. Also, DB Gentry Williams in the portal. OL Logan Howland, tight end Carson Kent, Jake Taylor, Marcus Strong. He was offered, I know, at Oklahoma State. Not sure that they have committed. Taylor Tatum, another big name dual sport athlete, running back and baseball player, has also hit the portal as well. Keith Ozeda is the only remaining offensive lineman from the 2023 recruiting class that we still have on the roster. Eddie Pierre Louise and Daniel Kumi are the only remaining linemen from the 24 class. Jake Taylor and Jacob Sexton were the only linemen taken in the 22 class. But noted, Colorado tight end Rocky Beers has been visiting OU this weekend. He is the brother of our women's basketball player Reagan Beers, so I think there might be a decent chance we have at getting Rocky. So fingers crossed for that. The portal giveth and the portal taketh, but our first gift from the portal this season is Florida tight end Hayden Hansen, 6'7", 269 pounds. That's a good Mark Andrews size comparison to Austin Stogner. I'm really excited about him. He's got some great plays, highlights I've seen on social media. Also, as I'm recording this today on Monday, January 5th at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, these are the commits that we have at this point. Western Kentucky transfer O-line Caleb Nitta has committed also to Oklahoma. He's versatile for multiple positions on the OL, which is super important catch for us. Also, Virginia wide receiver Trell Harris, 59 receptions this past season for 47 yards and 5 touchdowns this past season. And also big news, David Stone is coming back. He has re-signed for 2026, and it's really crazy that it's a big deal that we're keeping players on our roster, but here we are. Okay, on to men's basketball. Man, our hoops teams have just been on fire here recently, and I am so excited. I attended the game this past Saturday against Ole Miss. A fantastic win for Porter and his guys. 70 win over Ole Miss in the SEC home opener. Porter didn't have to worry about monitoring Xavier Brown's minutes in the first half because of foul trouble, but in the second half, he really got his work on. He apparently had the flu. They called it his flu game, but he was brilliant, and 19 of 23 in the second half. Ole Miss hadn't given up more than 77 points all season long. The Sooners have scored 85 plus points in 10 of 14 games for 71%. For comparison, OU's last 4 teams scored 85 plus a combined of 21 times in 133 games. So that's pretty impressive. Our final stats this past Saturday against Ole Miss, X had 23 points, 1 rebound, 2 assists. Nigel, 15 points, 5 rebounds. Tay, 15, 3 rebounds. Koala Talk, what a game for him. Points, 2 rebounds, 1 block, and 2 steals for him. Mo Wagee, 10 points, 15 rebounds, 3 assists. Darion, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Jadon Jones, 3 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Our new Russian player, Kirill, 1 rebound for him on Saturday. Next up for our Sooner men are Wednesday at Ole Miss. So the day that this episode drops on Wednesday, January 7th at Ole Miss for our men. I do want to rewind a little bit. I don't want to overlook last week's impressive win from our Sooner men over MVSU. We stayed unbeaten at home as we continued through the weekend. Mississippi Valley State, we defeated them for our 4th straight win and 8th win in the last 9 games. Pretty great streak there for Porter's team coming into conference play. It was all Koala Talk in the first half. Xavier Brown in the second half. Atak had 24 points in that game. Brown had 22. That was our Russian debut with Kirill Estanosev. 6 points, 4 rebounds, and 18 minutes for him. Again, just a fantastic outing by our men. In the first 13 games, 87.4 points per game. Graham highest scoring average since 2017-18 and 3rd highest in the last 32 years. 6 games of 90 or more points. OU combined for 10 games of 90 points over the last 4 full seasons. And 10 5 3-pointers per game, which is a program third most threes made per game during the 40-year three-point era. So pretty impressive again by Porter's crew. I did want to mention what he had to say about our Russian addition to the team after the game last week against Mississippi Valley State. He said, I've never had a mid-year addition. Whether I like it or not is a different story. It's allowed. You're either going to evolve or not. I can't believe here we are to throw him in just after 2 practices, but they did. He has played, though limited, the last couple of games for us. He found him because of a Goodman Hoops tweet saying he had been cleared by the NCAA to play. So Moser and OU then locked in on him, recruited him, and signed him. Happened pretty quick, but we're certainly glad to have him in Norman and looking forward to seeing how he can help us this season. Okay, our women's hoop again on fire. They have moved up in the polls to number 5. They're sitting at 14-1 now, 2-0 in conference play. They had a 72-50 win over Texas A&M on New Year's Day on the road last week. Chavez had 20 points. OU held A&M to 0 made field goals in the third quarter. That's a nation high 56 career double-doubles for Reagan Beers in that game. This past Sunday, they hosted Mississippi State at the Lloyd Noble Center, and we finished them off 95-47, 2 for 2. It's a start our SEC schedule. No complaints there for Jenny Baranchek's squad. Just total domination. We held Mississippi State to 20% shooting, the lowest opponent field goal percentage by a conference foe in program history. Incredible. Again, Reagan Beers, inevitable 57 career double-doubles, 12 on the season, leads the nation in both. She had 15 points, 11 rebounds, and 3 assists. Chavez had her flu game this past Sunday as well. She still scored 17 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists. Peyton Verhulst, 12 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Sahara Williams, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists. And Zaya Van, 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 4 assists. Zaya is the first Sooner since 1999 to post a stat line of 16, 11, 5, and 4. Pretty incredible for Zaya. So up next for our ladies are Ole Miss in Norman, and they are a top 10 team on Thursday, January 8th. Okay, like I said, it's almost gymnastics season. Our women open up on the road on January 10th at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad against LSU, UCLA, Utah, and more. Our first home meet at Lloyd Noble is on January 23rd against Georgia. So mark your calendars for that. Men's gym open up soon on the road on January 17th in the Rocky Mountain Open in Colorado. Their home opener is on February 1st against Greenville. Quick rundown of some softball alumni who represented with USA Softball Down Under in Australia over New Year's. Coach Patty Gasso led the squad to Australia for a 4-game series over the New Year's holiday. Game 1, Alyssa Brito got her first Team USA appearance with a hit and run scored 9-0 win in Game 1 on New Year's Eve in Australia. Tiara Jennings played cleanup in first base. Kelly Maxwell relieved for a combined no-hitter, retired on the side for 3 straight Ks to seal the run rule. Game 2, scores by Brito and Tiara. We won by 14-0 run rule. Game 3, 7-0 win, grand slam by Alyssa Brito. She cleared the bases with a long ball to center. She also had 4 RBIs, scored a run, and Kelly Maxwell showed out again in the circle, pitching 3 innings for a combined no-hitter and 3 strikeouts. In Game 4, USA Eagles won 8-0 in 5 innings, undefeated on the series Down Under in Australia. Again, Alyssa Brito delivered with 2 on the bags. She sent 1 deep to left center to bring up the lead. She also had an RBI double that widened the lead, and USA won 8-0 in the top of the 5th run rule game to an undefeated series Down Under for Team USA. International debut for Alyssa Brito, and she was the series MVP. So congratulations to former Sooner Alyssa Brito. And again, I know I mentioned Tiara Jennings and Kelly Maxwell showing out in the circle as well. And Coach Gasso, congrats to those Sooners for showing out with Team USA. Wrestling, y'all, it's Bedlam Week, Sunday, January 11th in Stillwater. The meet is at 5 p.m. at Gallagher-Iba. It's going to be a great atmosphere. If you have an opportunity, get out and come. I will actually be there. So if you're coming out, let me know. I would love to say hello. But our wrestling team is holding strong in the poll, number 15 team ranking, and we have several individual rankings as well with Conrad Hendrickson, Tyler Wells, Carter Schubert, Brian Saldano, DJ Parker, and Juan Mora. So I cannot wait to see my friend DJ Parker. I had him on the podcast earlier this winter, just about a month or so ago. Can't wait to get out and support him and the wrestling guys in Stillwater this weekend. It's also coming up tennis season, and the men's home opener is January 16th against Arizona, and the women host the ITA kickoff weekend January 23rd through 26th in Norman. The women will host Stanford, Yale, and Memphis. So can't wait to get out and support Bruno Naveen, who I had on the show last summer, and Julia Garcia Ruiz. I interviewed her for the show. Her episode will be dropping soon. Track and field. Next up, their home event is the Owen Hewitt Invitational on January 16th. They also have a home meet on January 23rd. So I'm planning to get out that day to support on January 23rd. We can get out and support our track team and our women's tennis as well. So I'm looking forward to doing that. Also, our hockey club team should be picking up now after the new year. They have quite a few more games through January and February. I know Bedlam wraps up the month of February, I believe, in Tulsa. So get out and support our club sports, our men's hockey team. You can find all their information on their social media. Go out and check their schedule and support them in this new year. Okay, to end this segment with a Sooner fun fact of the week. From 2000 to 2023, OU men's gymnastics coach Mark Williams helped guide the Sooners to 9 national championships and 10 national runner-up finishes. Y'all, our men's gymnastics team often gets overlooked, and I don't often say that a men's team is getting overlooked, but they truly are. Our women's gymnastics gets a lot of accolades, a lot of attention, as they should. They have more than earned it. They deserve it. Coach KJ needs a statue. Coach Mark Williams needs a statue. I had Coach Mark Williams on the podcast last spring, and he is an incredible human, an incredible coach. He loves his athletes. His athletes love him. They respect him. A tremendous program that he has built in Norman. So get out and support our gymnastics guys. And again, shout out to Coach Mark for that incredible stat. Okay, a quick rundown of what's coming up in 2026. I just interviewed Maggie Bookout, now Maggie Mullings, and her husband Ralphard Mullings of the track team. Maggie Bookout, if you recognize that name, she is OU legacy. OU DNA runs deep in her blood. Her husband Ralphard is an Olympian from Jamaica, and they have been married a couple of years now. They both compete for OU track and field as discus throwers. Sweet, sweet couple. Loved visiting with them. I just interviewed them this past weekend, and their episode will drop this spring. Also just lined up an interview with Kelly Maxwell. Yep, it's true. Kelly Maxwell, I'm interviewing her here soon after she gets back to the States and settled from the Team USA stint in Australia. I cannot wait to talk to her about that. Also coming up in 2026, be sure and check my social media for the schedule. Volleyball player Sydney Thompson, former softball standout Nicole Mendez, former Sooner Hooper, current NFL sideline reporter for the NFL Network Stacey Dales, former Sooner Hooper Taylor Robertson, soccer player Ali Lastinoli, a Crimson Chronicles episode with Noble McIntyre, and Tierney Smith. If you follow Tierney and her husband Chad, they have a sports podcast as well, and I followed them on Twitter for a while. A lot of people know her name. Just interviewed her for Crimson Chronicles as well. Also, I have coming up baseball player Brendan Brock, softball player Riley Zake, tennis player Julia Garcia Ruiz, and OU Palm member Riley Noble. So no matter what sport you love, no matter if you're looking to highlight females or overlook sports, I've got you covered coming up. There's lots more on deck as well for 2026, and I'm so excited. And I'm celebrating 1 year of Sooner Girl Sports Pod, and I'm having a party, and I want you to come. You can find all of my information about this in my link tree. It's my link in bio on all social media, at Sooner Girl Pod on every platform. Also, at the top of the Sooner Girl Sports Pod Facebook page, there is an event post pinned with information regarding this, but it is on Thursday, February the 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. at Coach's Corner in Norman. Coach's Corner is owned by Corey Wilson. He is co-owner. He's a former football player for OU. Him and his wife, Terry, sweet people, dear friends. And I'm so excited to host my party there with them again, Thursday, February 5th from 6 to 8 p.m. Come and go. You're welcome to come, socialize, grab a piece of cake. We're going to do a cheers at 6:30, and then you can stay for a meal, socialize for a bit, or if you need to hit the road, that's fine too. I also have a guest book. I will have it at the party. I hope that you can come by and sign it. If you can't make it, but you'd like to send me a note, don't, you can email it to soonergirlsportspod@gmail. Again, I'm just oh so thankful for everybody who supports this podcast. I would not be here today if not for each and every person who listens, downloads, shares with a friend, invites a friend to follow on social media. You go follow me on social media. You bought my merch. I'm so thankful. And I've created such a great community with my ladies, with the locker room. Ladies, if you are interested in joining, it's only $5 a month. Shoot me a message. I'm happy to help you, or you can subscribe on my Substack. If you're interested in my merch, any advertising options to be a sponsor on the show, you want to join the locker room. Ladies, you want to follow me on social media, find all my podcast apps, links to all the things, merch. It's all in my link tree, my link in bio on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod. If you're watching this video, there will be the link shown at the end of this video as well. But go find me on social media at Sooner Girl Pod, and I cannot wait to celebrate with you guys on February 5th. So I hope you guys enjoy my interview with Miss Eva Kubickova. She is a track and field sprinter from the Czech Republic. She has represented both OU and her country on the world stage. Again, I just enjoyed our conversation so much, my extra segment with her. So you will hear the first segment and then it will go straight into the second segment. So you will hear the entire conversation. Her favorite Sooner memory is getting to nationals as a freshman, and we talk about that in her interview. You can find her on Instagram and YouTube. Her Instagram is at Eva_Kubickova1. I will link that in the show notes. And of course, on all social media this week, I will be tagging her on all the things. So I hope you guys enjoy my interview with sweet, amazing Eva Kubickova. And I will see you guys all next Wednesday. I have another tremendous guest for you in volleyball player Sydney Thompson next week. So I will see you next Wednesday where we talk sports. I really appreciate you coming to chat with me. I'm so excited to hear your track journey.
Of course, thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Tell me a little bit how you got started into track and field, and you've represented your country on multiple occasions as well, and now you've ended up in Oklahoma. So tell about that journey and how you got started in it and what led you to Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, so I used to do gymnastics. I did
Okay.
gymnastics. I was like 6 for about 6 to 7 years. And then my whole family did track, both of my parents, both of my siblings. So I knew that as soon as I'm going to be done with gymnastics, I'm going to transition to athletics or to track. I'm sorry, we call it athletics in Europe. So
Okay, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, basically I just like finished gymnastics one day, and the next day I immediately went to the local track club and asked them if I can join. And so I was like 13 then, and I've been doing track ever since.
Wow. So. Okay. How on earth did you end up in Oklahoma from Europe?
Yeah, well, when I was 13, I decided to move out of my parents' house to a different city because they had a high school that was different. They had all classes in English, and I thought it would be like very interesting for me. And basically, high school is normally 4 years, but this one was like 6 years program because the first 2 years we were kind of preparing for having all classes in English, like physics,
wow,
biology, chemistry, everything. Because my first language is Czech. I'm from the Czech Republic. So I knew that as soon as I'm going to be done with high school, I want to move abroad. And I thought that I would probably move to England or some other like European country. So I can actually like use what I learned, because I thought it would be like useless to stay in Czech Republic after studying in different language for 6 years.
Right.
But I started like getting better at track, and I had some like agencies reach out to me if I want to like study in America, and I was like, why not? Because I wanted to do like an exchange year in high school in America, but it's like it's very expensive, and then you cannot even pick where you're gonna be, so it's kind of a lottery. And then I would have to probably repeat that school year in Czech Republic. So my parents were like, there's like really no point in it. And so this way I can experience the American life and get my college degree and keep running track. So
awesome.
All in one.
Well, it never ceases to amaze me. I traveled to Germany about 20 years ago, and I met a girl from Germany, and she was fluent in German and French and English because she could talk to me very easily, just like you are. And I was just sitting there going, I know English. That's it. It's sad to me that as Americans, like most of us are not fluent in another language, and so many people have not traveled outside of the United States, let alone lived outside of the United States. And then you look at people like the girl I know from Germany and yourself, and I also talked to a tennis player that's at OU now, Bruno. He's from Africa. He had a similar scenario as you, moved out of his parents' home at a young age to further his career, and now here he is in Oklahoma. But people like you guys are so inspiring because not only do you know multiple languages, but you've put yourself out there to better yourself and continue your journey. And I think that's really cool because I feel like you guys from overseas are way more fluent, obviously, in other languages and way more open to get out there and see the rest of the world. And I truly admire that. And I think that's really cool.
Thank you so much, but I also feel like it's very different because my
Uh-huh.
language is not worldwide. Only Czech Republic speaks Czech, and then
Very
Slovakia
true.
and some of the Eastern countries. But so
Mm-hmm.
we had to like learn English from actually the first grade, and then we had
Okay,
to add
makes
another
sense.
language when we're in sixth grade. So I learned German,
Okay,
and
okay.
if we want to like travel, we gotta learn other languages because otherwise we would not be able to travel at all.
That makes
And
sense.
also Europe, like you have Germany like 5 hours from my home, so it's
Uh huh.
also very different. Like you can get to Texas in 5 hours. So like to
Right.
travel outside the country is such like a big jump, but like travel in
Yes,
Europe, you can hop on a train, take a car, and in a few hours you're in a different country, different
that's
culture,
so
different
true.
language. So
Very true.
it's amazing. The plane tickets are very cheap there if you want to like travel across the Europe. But yeah, it's a difference.
That is a very good point to make. It is much easier to travel over there. And again, my German friend, she came to America. It's probably been about 10 or 15 years ago now. And she was just amazed at the lack of transportation that we have because we don't have trains to just hop on and take you somewhere, and flights are a lot of times outrageous, so it's a completely different world. It's
Yeah.
crazy to think about. So what all languages do you speak? You said Czech and then German and obviously English.
Ish. German, not as much, a little. I
Uh-huh.
had it in high school, so for like 6, 7 years, but
Okay.
I don't remember much, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't used it since I got out of high school, so
That's understandable. That's very understandable. So how did you end up actually like in Oklahoma, or like how did you pick OU?
so I'm a senior and
Mm-hmm.
I've been here since my freshman year, so this is my fourth
Okay.
year in Oklahoma. Yeah, my recruiting process, I would say it was a little different because it was
Mm-hmm.
COVID, so I couldn't do any official
Oh,
visits. So all the visits
yes.
I did was kind of like online coaches on like trying to film the campus and stuff. So it was
Right.
on those parts and stuff. So it was funny how much they were like trying to at least show me something. But I feel like it's getting better, but I didn't really have any like knowledge of like American colleges before I got here. Like I didn't know what Power 4 is or what used to be Power 5.
Right.
I have no idea what is a big school, what is a small school. Some
Mm-hmm.
of the, because I was working with an agency, so they were like getting me in touch with the coaches. So overall, I
Uh-huh.
think I talked with like 30 coaches, but a lot of them were from like a smaller D1 schools, but I had like no idea. And as I was
Right.
talking to more and more coaches, I started like distinguishing what is a bigger school, what is a smaller school. And Oklahoma actually saw our jumps coach, Coach Davis, on Instagram because I was like browsing through different like schools and stuff. And
Uh-huh.
I saw his Instagram and I'm like, oh, that looks really cool. Like they have nice facilities. I saw some Jordan. I'm like, they're sponsored by Jordan, Nike. That looks fun. So I reached out to him on Instagram, which is so funny because all the other schools, like the agency had got me in touch with them, but this one I just like texted him on Instagram that I would be interested, and then he got
I
me
love
in,
it.
yeah, then he got me in touch with the sprints coach, and yeah, that was basically it. I think she was what like sold me to Oklahoma because she
Yeah.
was very like she was also an international student when she was
Mm-hmm.
younger, so she knew what it is like. She's from Jamaica, and I really liked her approach, and it felt very like family. Like I didn't want
Yeah.
like a big program where I would feel irreplaceable. So that's why Oklahoma was my choice.
I love that. I've heard that from a lot of different athletes, in that they felt at home at OU, and of course that's really cool to hear because, like you said, you don't just want to feel like a number or just a random athlete. You want to feel special and like you're
Mhm.
a person, and that you're important. So that's really really cool to hear. Okay, so you said that your favorite Sooner memory was making it to nationals as a freshman. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's so funny because I was so clueless. I didn't even realize how like big nationals is,
Uh huh.
and I'm not exactly sure how it is in like other sports, but in track and field, like nationals are like Olympics level.
Uh
Like the
huh.
results you see there sometimes are like better than Olympics too, or like it's the same, especially
Uh
like
huh.
in sprints. Like it's a whole different game. Like to qualify to nationals, that's like harder than qualifying to Olympics. Actually, we go
Yeah.
there with the 4x1 relay, and it was amazing. I didn't realize how like hard it was because I was a freshman. It was all new to me, and it kind of like
Right.
went automatic round by round. We went to conference. We were like third, second, something like that. Then we went to
Mm-hmm.
regionals, and we qualified. We actually qualified from the last spot, but we were happy that we qualified,
That's
and
awesome.
it was amazing to experience like the whole season as a freshman.
First, well, tell me a little bit about. I mean, you're a senior, so this is your final season with OU. So, what are some of your hopes and things you're looking forward to, or maybe somewhere that you guys are traveling to that's a new place to
Mhm.
visit, something like that that you're looking forward to for the season?
Oh my god. So I'm actually I we're gonna have a lot of homies, and I think that's very
Yes,
exciting
yes,
because as a freshman I was really like excited to like travel by plane and stuff, and later on I
uh-huh.
realized how much it is on the body, like to either be on a bus for 6 hours or like be traveling all day and then
Yes,
competing the next day. It's not ideal,
for
especially in
sure.
track and field where you literally have like in my event 60 or 100, you have like very few seconds, so you have to be like 100% ready, and every
Yes.
small thing that you do differently, if you don't sleep well, if you don't eat well, like it's gonna show. So
Okay.
I'm excited we're gonna have a lot of homies and that we will not have to travel and the body's gonna be rested, and it's gonna be kind of like an
Yes.
advantage. And I ran some good times here at OU, so I'm excited to compete here.
Yeah.
I hope a lot of people are gonna come to support us, show some love, and yeah, I hope to, I don't know, show some great results. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the fall season is just like getting ready and you don't really know what exactly to expect. And
So
then
true.
it's you're so nervous before the first meets because that's gonna show you where you're at. Was it good fall
So
training
true.
and stuff?
Right. That's so
So yeah.
true. Well, I will be attending my first track and field meet at some point in the season. I've never been to anything like that before, but I'm excited that there's a lot of opportunities at home for me to do that because I
Yes.
definitely plan to make it out to at least one, hopefully two, and check it all out because, like I said, I'm not very familiar with all
Mhm.
the things going on. I mean, I'm pretty new at trying to familiarize. I mean, I've watched the Olympics, obviously,
Yeah. Yeah.
for my whole life. And so if it's on the Olympics, I've seen it. But as far as like, especially at a collegiate level, I'm not
Mhm.
super familiar with how it all goes. So I'm looking forward to it. But tell me a little bit about what it's been like for you to represent your country on the world
Yeah.
stage, because I know that you've done that.
I remember how many times it's been. Quite
Okay,
a
I
few.
figured it had been a lot.
Yeah, I think okay, the first time I represented my country was 2018, I think. It was just
Okay.
in Hungary. And when you're like under 16, you don't really have
Mm-hmm.
like European championships, but you have these meets where it's like five countries in like the Central Europe and they do one meet
Oh,
together
yeah.
just to see where the people are at, just to have some kind of
Right.
like international experience before you get
Right.
in the real world. So yeah, then in 2019, I went to European Youth Olympic Games in Azerbaijan in Baku.
Oh,
That was a
cool.
really cool experience. I don't think I would like ever go to a country like that if it wasn't for track. So it's kind of like a small Olympics for Europe and for younger people under 18.
Oh,
So we
wow.
were
That's
like
really cool.
Yeah, we're connecting with like other sports. We're literally in a village. We had our
Hmm.
own place, so that was very exciting. And then 2020, it was COVID. We're supposed to have under 18 European Championship, and I think I was ranked like number one in hurdles and number three in 100 or something like that. So I was hoping for a medal, but it got canceled.
That's so
then
disappointing.
then 2021, we had European Under 20 Championship, and I injured my
Mhm.
hamstring. I had a tear in my hamstring.
Oh,
It wasn't big, but it affected my season. I still
yeah.
qualified for the Europeans, but I didn't do well. But a month later, we had a World Under 20 Championship in Kenya, in
Mhm.
Nairobi, and I actually qualified for the finals in the 100 and in the
Oh,
relay. So that was very exciting to
that's
go all the.
awesome. Yeah.
And then the last year before I came to America, 2022, I think that was kind of like my breakthrough year. Indoors,
Mhm.
I broke the national 60 record. I went to the senior indoor world championship. So that was like my first senior championship. That was very exciting, like seeing all the stars that are warming up next to you. And I was just acting like, it's okay, I'm one of
Yes.
them.
How
Hey, like,
crazy.
play it cool, play it cool. We had like Duplantis at the breakfast, Mono Duplantis.
Oh
He
my
was
God.
like, hey, I'm like, hi.
Oh wow, that's so crazy.
Then outdoors, we had under 20 world championship again. This time it was in Colombia, and I think I got 12th. It was kind of crazy because we had a delay in the semifinals because of rainy conditions. So you're
Yeah.
in like a waiting room. It's like a really small room, just full of chairs, and you have the 8 girls that are supposed to race, and
Uh.
we had to sit there for 2 hours. We warmed up. They took us by bus
Oh.
from one stadium to the like official one, and then they had us in there for 2 hours because of the rain delay, and you couldn't really like move. You had like maybe 20 meters, and you
Oh
had
my
to like,
gosh.
because we didn't know how what a delay is gonna be. It was like every 30 minutes they were like, okay, extra 30 minutes, extra 30
Right.
minutes. So we
Right.
didn't know. So we had to like stay ready and warm up for 2 hours straight, which was
Oh my
insane.
gosh. That is
Yeah,
crazy.
and I remember our physiotherapist, she had like a tiger bomb there, and she was there with our heptathlete, and I saw her in the restroom, and I'm like, "Oh my God, can I have some of the tiger bomb to like keep me warm?" And I think
Uh-huh.
one of the officials saw me, and he gave me like a yellow card or something that I cannot like talk to my team physiotherapist. And I'm like, I had no idea. So
Oh, oh crap.
yeah, that was crazy, but
That is crazy.
yeah, so I ended up 12th overall. I was a little disappointed that year. I was really aiming for the national under 20 100 record, but
Hmm.
I had like always like really bad wind conditions. I never had like wind in my back. I was always
Yeah.
running wind. But then I think the classes already started, but we had a European Senior Championship that I already qualified for. So my freshman year, I got to America 2 weeks late because I wanted to compete at the European Championship. But it
Right.
was
I don't blame you.
so yeah, a lot of meets all over the world.
Yeah, you have been all over the place. That was one thing I didn't really think about a lot. Because again, I'm not super familiar with track and field until I talked to Coach Thomas this past summer. Just him talking about how basically you guys, like, your season, like, quote, never ends because you compete all the way into June. That's when national championships are. And then you go and compete for your countries. And then, like you said, school starts and you could still be competing. And then you come back and it's time for school. And then you have to prepare for the next season. And it's just crazy.
Yeah,
And he
yeah,
was talking to me about all of that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I hadn't really thought about it. I mean, I'm familiar with football and softball and basketball, and I know that they all have different stuff going on, but my goodness, it seems like you guys are literally always doing
yeah.
something. So I was truly shocked to hear the schedule for sure.
Especially for internationals, because the pro season and the European season is a little bit different, because in America or in
Yes.
NCAA we start, let's say, in January, go all the way to
Hmm.
March, and then immediately after indoor season the outdoor season starts.
Yeah.
But in the rest of the world they have a break in March until like May. Some people start in June, so they have like another like, it's
Okay.
kind of like another fall training, but it's like a spring training where you're getting ready for the
Yeah.
second But since I'm competing here, I finish in
Oh
May, June
man.
depends, and then I go
Yeah.
home and I start my European season there. And this year we had
Wow.
nationals on 25th of August. So
Oh my goodness.
I was competing on 25th of August, and on the 20th at 6 a.m. I was on the plane here back to America because I had to be back for school.
Wow.
So usually I have like 2 weeks of season in a year,
Oh
maybe
my
3 weeks.
gosh.
Yeah.
That is really crazy. And then obviously you had been competing since January. So for 8
Yes.
months. That's insane. Wow. Oh
It's a
my
lot of
gosh. Well, you have to love obviously what you're doing
yeah,
because it's your life in a lot of different ways. I can promise you that not very many people realize your schedule and how much you guys truly compete and train for. Like you said, you competed and then the next day you're on a plane to go to class. Like that's just insane. So,
yeah.
wow.
I did it like 2 years in a row now, and it's crazy. Like I compete at
It,
6 p.m. I go get a medal, and 6 a.m. I'm already on the plane.
my
It's a lot
gosh.
of I like fast paced and exciting life.
Yeah.
I feel like I thrive under pressure, so the more you give me, the more I feel excited.
That's the way it has to be because you're always so busy doing something. So,
Yeah.
what's your favorite sport outside of what you do? What do you like
Okay.
to watch or even compete in?
It's definitely basketball. I don't really
Okay.
know why, but I just love basketball. And like this year, since we won the NBA championship, it's
Yes.
even like more exciting to see us like win all the time. I love to watch
Yes.
that. And actually, since I got to America at first, I didn't understand American football, obviously.
Right.
First year. The second year, I didn't really care. My last year, I started like understanding the rules. And this year, I'm actually like really into it, and I watch
Oh,
all the games
good.
for hours, and I'm like so excited about it. It's so
That's
funny 'cause,
awesome.
yeah, I don't really watch like regular football or soccer at
Hmm.
all because
Uh-huh.
I kind of find it like boring. Like 90 minutes, they just like running around, and then sometimes the score is 0-0 and we can go home. Like,
Yes.
great. Yeah, I really don't like regular football. I don't think I ever watched like a full football game. But American football, that's a different story.
Completely different. Well, American football is definitely my first love, so to speak.
Yeah.
But I have started following soccer just from doing my podcast and connecting with some of those athletes. And I've really tried to learn about it, but I've only been to like two or three soccer games ever in my whole
Mhm.
life. But yeah, like you said, a lot of time can go by and you feel like nothing's really happening. And then you're like,
Yes.
there's no score. What do we
Yes.
do? Oh, it's just over. Oh, okay. Well,
Okay.
so,
Good thing I got
so
the
that
ticket.
yes, that is definitely a struggle. I will say that. But when they do score and when they hit the ball with their head, that's exciting to me. I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
imagine.
yeah. Yeah. And it's so interesting to see how soccer is not really like big in America as it is in Europe, or like actually everywhere
Yes.
in the world. It's like the leading like number
Everywhere.
one sport, and in
Yeah.
Europe the fans go crazy, like
Oh yes.
crazy to the point it gets violent. Like it's
Yeah.
insane. It's sometimes scary. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They have some it's not like fireworks, but they have like kind of some fire stuff.
Hmm.
They take it to the stadium, so you just like see like stuff everywhere. It's
Oh
crazy. It's
wow.
crazy.
That is crazy. Well, you mentioned basketball being your favorite sport and I love basketball too. And I've been following both of our teams, but our
Yeah.
girls team I'm very excited about this season. I actually got to talk to a couple of the girls, Peyton Verhulst and Beatrice Culleton, but they're so exciting to watch. And basketball's really grown on me, especially in the last 10 or 15 years or so. So I'm a pretty big
Mhm.
fan because it's fast paced. Like you said, it's
I would,
not boring. Yeah,
you can be losing by like 20 and you can still
it
win.
can
I
change.
just
Yeah.
saw I'm not sure which NBA team it was, but in the
Hmm.
fourth quarter, I think they were losing by almost like 30 and they still managed to win. They got like 20 straight points in a row.
Yep. Yeah, they can go on a run. It's crazy. Well, and
You don't have to lose hope ever. Like
I
there's always a chance.
exactly. That's so true. And then you mentioning the Thunder, I think that's kind of what helped me become a bigger basketball fan. I mean, I've always watched OU, even when I was in school at OU, I would go to the basketball games. But when the Thunder came to Oklahoma, which was 2008,
Yeah.
like the whole state was like, oh, this is our first professional team on any level. We're going to be all about it. And so everybody started getting invested in it. And so that really pushed me to think, okay, well, I really need to get into this. And I really have. It's so, like you said, it's so much fun to watch. It's fast paced and you can just never give up because you never know what's going to happen. And yeah, watching the
Exactly.
Thunder win the whole thing this past summer was pretty incredible.
Yeah, I was at home, like kind of like checking the results of like the last.
Yeah.
Every time like I woke up, I'm like, what is it? What is it? Did we win? And then I was so sad that I was not here for it, for like the parade and actually the
Yes.
game. I wish I could go to one of the playoffs game, but I was at home.
I know.
Fan. It's really like
Yes,
good community. Yeah.
it really is. It's really been cool for our state to see, like you said, that community and the camaraderie of just everybody coming together and cheering together for something. And the parade, we didn't go. It was so hot that day. I kind of kicked myself a little bit. My husband really wanted to go, but we didn't since we live
Yeah.
about 2 hours away from Oklahoma City. But
Mhm.
yeah, we watched it on TV. So it was really cool to see for sure.
I'm actually glad I can only go home for the summer because the heat in Oklahoma gets insane.
It's so
It's really
bad. It's
like
bad.
I always like watch the weather app on my phone. I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not there right now. Especially
Exactly.
rain
Well,
in that heat,
yes.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, do you have any other of your favorite memories or any stories or anything you want to tell?
I think I have definitely a few of them. One of them was my
Okay.
freshman year when we went to Bahamas for spring
Uh-huh.
break. We had a meet there and it was just amazing. I think I lived it all my freshman year. Like all
Yes,
the
it sounds like
actually
it.
went for to Bahamas because I think we can go once every 4 years, I believe, to an for an international
Mm-hmm.
trip. So
Uh-huh.
that was amazing.
That's cool.
And I think like one of my like other it's a sad memory, but it's like very like intense and like one that is always like very like I feel it very deeply. It was my sophomore year when
Mm-hmm.
I had to go home in the middle of the second semester because
Mm-hmm.
my dad was very sick
Oh
and
no.
yeah, I had to go home to say goodbye and
Oh my gosh.
yeah, we had a team meeting and I started crying. Everybody was looking at me, so I just like told them what is going on and that I'm actually gonna leave and I'm probably not gonna come back for the rest of the semester. And the whole team, like we all held hands and everybody prayed for me. And that was such an like
Oh,
intense memory, like when hundred of people in one room is just there for you. And like I got so
that's
many
cool.
like hugs and messages after. It just like the time was so hard for me, but I had like
Yes.
teammates reach out to me all the time. They were texting me even when I was at home that they're thinking of me and stuff. So
Oh.
that's something that I like deeply value and is yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you shared that because, there's so much more to sports than just competing and being an athlete. And the friendships that you have and the relationships and just that team that you have and the relationships are special. And I know that that meant a lot to you during that time. I lost my dad at a young age as well. I was 23, and it's certainly not something as a young girl that you plan on happening. And
Yeah.
so yeah, to have that group of people that pray for you and check on you,
Mhm.
it means more than people realize at the time for sure. So
Yeah.
it's
Having
not a club that's fun to be a part of, but when you have gone through that, you realize that importance of that. So that thank you for
yeah,
sharing that. That's really neat.
it was really great having like a whole team having my back, like all the
Yeah.
coaches, all the team. Like it wasn't a good experience, but
Right.
they I think they got me through it. And then I actually came back
Absolutely.
2 weeks later because I wanted to come back to just like escape that. And just
Yeah.
like everybody was so excited. I didn't tell anybody that I'm coming back actually. And then I just like showed up at practice and they were all so excited and it was just
Oh,
it's amazing. Yeah, and it's like so cool coming to college already having like 100 friends almost.
Yeah.
Like so many people, I cannot imagine like going to college and like having to build all the connections just through like classes or like trying to join clubs.
Yeah.
Just like you already have like 100 people that you can just like go up to and talk to and already have something in
Yeah.
common. So that's just amazing.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's kind of like your built-in friend group that you just show up and here they are, and you all have something in common, obviously, already. So that's a
Yeah.
big deal. That's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. That's yeah, amazing.
Well, is there anything else? I certainly do not want to cut you off. Anything else you want to share?
I would just tell everybody to come watch us compete. I think the way
Absolutely.
we do it is pretty amazing because track is usually the meet usually takes all day, which is why
Yes.
probably people don't come to watch it because they don't have all the time and they want to see it all in just a couple of hours.
Right.
Last year and I think this year we're gonna do it similar way, that it's not gonna be a whole day meet, it's just gonna be a couple hours in the afternoon
Yes.
sometimes, and you're gonna have just selected events and you can just come watch for 2 hours, support, and see some amazing.
Yes.
We have some national champions on the team, some all Americans, so I think that would be amazing.
That's awesome. I'm really glad that you pointed that out because Coach Thomas had told me that kind of the schedule that he has in mind, like he did last year, and I think that's fantastic because it gives you an opportunity to come and, like you said, just have a couple of hours to come out and support, and I think that's great. So I'm glad that you mentioned that for sure because that will be helpful to us
Yeah.
fans for sure. Well,
Thank you. Thank you.
when you reached out to me about wanting to talk about this, I was so glad that you did because I had briefly touched on this with another athlete just about a week or so ago. And I always enjoy when someone brings this topic up
Mhm.
because, as you know, it is a sensitive subject. I get, but also it's very important to talk about. And you guys, you live it, and so for you to bring that up and want to bring attention to it and talk about it, I just love that. So I appreciate you reaching out to me and wanting to talk about it for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking about it for quite some time. I was like, it was a great podcast, but I feel like it didn't really
Yes,
have any like added value. And because you make it like a women's in sports podcast, I feel
yes,
like those are like important topics that should be like talked about and are not talked
absolutely.
about.
I
Yeah, and
completely
there's like
agree.
so many, and I feel like probably every woman who's an athlete experiences it. So.
Oh, for sure. And I know that it's something that's hard to talk about, but I do think it's important. And like I said, for you to bring that up and want to bring attention to it and have a voice that will speak to so many people, I just think that's fantastic that you want to use your voice and your platform to do that. Just tell
Yeah,
me,
thank you.
of course, you're welcome. If you just want to tell me a little bit about what was on your mind just regarding that and maybe your journey dealing with that
Hmm.
yourself.
Yeah, so I think this year I started thinking a lot about how kind of sad I've become since my results started dropping and were not
Mm-hmm.
as good as they used to be. And I was progressing for like 6 years straight. So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I built up all my self-worth based on the results
Mm-hmm.
I'm performing as an athlete.
Yeah.
But then when the results were not showing, I realized that I that became like all my personality
Mm-hmm.
and like all I am, all I introduce myself as an athlete.
Yes.
And I became like very sad, and I remember at one meet, I think it was indoor conference. I It was my sophomore year and I did horribly, and after that I was taking off my makeup at the hotel and I was just looking at myself in the mirror and I started crying because I was like, I was so bad I couldn't even like look at myself, and I'm like, this is horrible that I feel this way because it's just because I didn't run a second faster than I wanted to. It's like
Right.
it matters, but to a certain level.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, so I realized that I should probably start doing something about it because that's not good, and I don't want the performance on the track affect my mood in my everyday life. If you
Absolutely.
know what I mean. Yeah, so I started seeing pros actually at our school
Good.
and talking to them about it and how it makes me feel. And I started like kind of building my personality on stuff outside of it. I started like deep diving in myself and I was just asking myself like what am I outside of drag?
Right.
Like what shapes me, what other things or what other skills I have and what other personality traits I have outside of drag. Because I feel
Absolutely.
like as athletes we bring a lot of our like personal traits from the sport that we do, but we also have other personal traits that have something to do with the sport but are built from a completely different part of our lives.
For
Yeah.
sure. Well, and you thinking about this now, at this phase in your life will help you going forward. And you talking about it with other people and sharing this will definitely help athletes of all ages, because there's going to come a point where you're no longer a runner,
Yeah,
no
yeah,
longer a
yeah.
tennis player, no longer a football player, whatever. And so there comes a point where you have to know who you are, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
outside of that, because if you don't, you're going to be completely lost. And it's very understandable. I can imagine,
Right.
giving up that part of yourself when that time comes. It's almost like losing someone with a death or something, because
But
it's been part of your life for so long. I was just talking to one of the volleyball girls,
mm-hmm.
Sydney Thompson. She graduated, and so her volleyball career is done. And she was talking about how she doesn't know what to do with herself. Because
Yeah,
she's used to going to practice and having workouts and all the things, and she's like, I have to
right.
do all of that on my own now. So it's a big step. And so, like I said, you identifying that in yourself and working on that now before you are having to give up your track career is a big thing, because that will definitely serve you well going forward, for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like a lot of like women in sports think that they're just athletes, but
Yeah,
everybody's like so much more than their sport.
absolutely.
And I still don't know what I would do without track right now. I
Yeah.
still would be probably lost, but I just want to be like confident in myself without
Yes.
the track part as well.
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
and the mental health aspect of it, just as far as not even just with your identification, but like you said, you didn't perform as well as you wanted to at a particular meet. And I'm sure it's happened more than once.
Yeah.
And so if you base yourself in that performance, regardless of whether you're thinking about the day that it ends or whatever, like it's just, it takes a toll on you mentally, for sure. And that goes for anybody, whether you're an athlete or not. I mean, the same can go for me just in my everyday job.
Yeah.
If I don't get everything done on my to-do list or whatever, I mean, I know it's a completely different level, but it's the same concept. Like, you have to
Mm-hmm.
find your worth and know that you're better than what's on this piece of paper or what's on the clock.
Exactly.
And so I think
Yeah.
it's definitely important to talk about. But
Yeah.
I know there's so many athletes that have struggled with mental health, and I think it's very important for those who speak out about it, because, like I said, whether you're still in your athletic career or getting ready to complete it or wherever you are on that journey, struggling with mental health is something that just everyday people do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, regardless of that scenario, just recognizing that and learning about yourself, like you said, like, who am I outside of this? Learn about yourself and accept yourself and know that people love you because of that. And I think
Exactly.
that's great.
I was literally like asking myself, what do the people that are closest to me like me for? They don't like me
Yes.
for how fast I run.
Right,
They
right.
like me for how I treat them, for what I do for them, and all
Absolutely.
this stuff, how caring I am. And
For sure.
yeah, it made me feel a little better.
Yes, yes. Well, and the good thing is you are surrounded by a lot of like-minded people, as
Mm-hmm.
athletes are. You're surrounded by people and you share those passions and lifestyle with your practice and your
Yes.
athletic abilities, but everybody's on a different level. Everybody's on a different track, so to speak.
Yeah.
Some people are wrapping up their track career if they're about to graduate or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
or their life is going to change. And then you've got freshmen coming in that are just beginning on a different
Yeah, yeah.
track.
different stuff works for like different people. So like
Oh, yes,
not comparing yourself to people around you is like so hard when
for
you see
sure.
somebody who's not like taking care of their nutrition and they win national championship, and then you have
Oh, yes.
somebody who's like trying so hard in every aspect of their life and they're barely make the travel roster, and that's like so hard not comparing yourself
Oh,
to
gosh.
others when you see all
Yes.
the examples.
That is an interesting viewpoint that you brought that up because we see that a lot. And even just outside of sports, like just in everyday life, like you'll see a really dedicated employee that's trying to go above
Mm-hmm.
and beyond and work really hard, and they get overlooked for a promotion at their job for somebody who barely shows up on time or something like that.
Literally, yeah.
Yeah, it happens in life and it is hard. I mean, like I said, these are lessons that can be carried off the track outside of the sport world, just in real life. And people, it's important to know your worth and know, like you said, who you are outside of those things, because it's really easy to put your identity in your job, your
Mm-hmm.
sport,
Yeah.
whatever. So I,
Talking to my best friends about how kind of weird it is in our 20s, how
uh-huh,
everybody's on a different path, because before the
yes,
20s people were going to high school at the same time, people
mm-hmm,
were graduating at the same time, and all the milestones were happening at the same times for everybody.
so
But
true.
now you have people that are my age that are getting married, some people have
Uh-huh,
children, some people are still living with their parents, and everybody's like on a different path, and it's so hard to like recognize why do I feel behind when some people are
yes,
still living at home, but at the same time somebody's already building a completely different life. And just to know like to balance it out and like realize that everything is fine and I have
yes,
time and it's okay
yes.
to feel a little
Well,
lost.
for sure, it totally is because I mean, like you said, there are people your age that are doing so many different things in life, married with kids, some still in college,
Yeah.
living at home or whatever. But as you get older, it gets so different. And it's really hard. Even myself, I was 27 when I got married, which might be older for Oklahoma, but not so much in other parts of
I
the
mean,
country. But
when you just said it, I thought that's pretty early.
yeah, well, right, and it is just compared worldwide for sure.
Yeah.
But a lot of people in Oklahoma, I'm sure you know,
Mhm.
they get married at 23, some even 22, earlier
Right.
than that. And so for me, it worked out great. But here I am now. I'm 45, and we don't have kids, and that's very rare. I mean, my husband and I have been together for 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have kids. And like I said, that is not the norm, especially in Oklahoma. I don't know necessarily worldwide how um, common it is for people not to have kids, but there's a lot of people that have 4 or 5 kids, and then you have people
Mm-hmm.
that just have one kid. And so I
Right.
don't think there's anything wrong with any of those journeys, regardless
Yes.
of when you get married or find the job that you want to be in for the rest of your life. Like, it's so crazy that people are like, I don't know what I want my major to be. Well, it's okay. You're 18 years old.
Yeah,
You
yeah, yeah.
don't
It's
have
like
to have life figured
right.
out.
Exactly.
But there's a lot going on at that age group. And yeah, I think it's important to, again, like, this is a lesson I've learned even through my 30s and still today. You don't have to be on the same track as everybody else. It's
Exactly.
okay that all of my friends got married way before I did. I mean, most of them
Yeah.
had kids when I got married, and that's okay. We're still friends. We're still, you know, we still talk, but we're just on different tracks in life, so to speak. And
Yeah.
but it's really hard not to compare yourself to other people regardless. But it's just a lesson that I think people, just to hear that somebody else is struggling with it or dealing with it, means a lot, because it's
Yeah.
something that not a lot of people like to talk about, and it's understandable. But yeah, it's very important just to say, hey, I don't know who I am, what I am. I'm trying to figure it out. And just to recognize it is the first step. And so it's just important to make that known for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, so many times I'm just like questioning myself like am I doing everything right? Should I be doing something different? Because you see people like winning Olympics at the age of 20, but then
Yes.
you see some people who are get to Olympics for the first time when they're 35, and
Yes.
everybody's so at such a different path, and you
Hmm.
just really gotta like focus on yourself and
You
just
do.
know that you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and as long as you work hard, everything is gonna figure out.
Absolutely. Well, and I
Yeah.
always tell myself one of my favorite phrases is know better, do better. So if when you know something better, you can act on it differently. You can
Mhm.
react and plan accordingly, but you can only do the best with what you have in front of you. So at this
Yeah.
time in your life, wherever you are, whatever you have, that's what you deal with. You do the best you can. And then as you learn and grow, which you will throughout life, you do better. And so
Right.
it's just an ever changing life lesson for sure.
Yeah, I look at back at so many things and I'm like, I would have reacted so differently right now, but
Right.
I was younger. I didn't know so
Right.
many things that I know now, and it's great to see the progress in the way
Absolutely.
you think. Yeah.
For sure. But I also think, I mean, for myself anyway, it brings me some comfort thinking about just whatever I was faced with at that time in my life. I was meant to face it then. So I wouldn't
Yeah.
necessarily change how I reacted to something. I just know, okay, if this happened today, I would definitely react differently. But I
Yeah.
wouldn't necessarily change how I handled it in the past because that's who I was back then. That's all I
Exactly.
knew back then. And so I did the best I could.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I know we talked about this before, you losing your dad
Mm-hmm.
and I lost my dad also at a young age,
Yeah,
which
yeah, yeah, I
I know I
remember.
mentioned.
Mhm.
And again, looking back, I think, oh, I wish I'd known this or done this or whatever, but I don't let that bother me or eat me up because the fact is like you just never know. And I have
Mhm.
to take comfort in, okay, I knew this and I did this and
Yeah.
I handled it this way. And I wouldn't change anything. I mean, we're always going to wish we have more time or whatever,
Mhm.
or we are going to wish we had the knowledge that we have now way back then or whatever. But the fact is, we didn't and we can't change anything. And so I just look back and be proud of how we handled things then and
Yeah.
be proud, like you said, of the progress that you've
Right.
seen yourself make over the years and know that you've learned so much and came so far. And that's really
Yeah.
the best way to handle it.
Right. I feel like that's such a great example because when I lost my dad, it was obviously the first time, and I didn't have a lot of people around me who would experience it, who would like help me or like
Yeah.
tell me how to cope, how to deal with it.
Yes.
And I think I was very lost, and I think it came from sports. I was trying to be like resilient, like super strong. I
Mm-hmm.
remember that day I even went to practice and finished all my assignments, and it just happened hours ago. But I'm like all the other competitors, they are not gonna stop just because I have a bad day.
Yeah.
So I just went on and I didn't really let myself grieve. And then
Yep.
it obviously all bubbled up and it exploded. And
Yep.
it exploded at a national championship. So it was like the worst time possible.
Mm.
But it also like taught me something. Like
Absolutely.
now if something like that's gonna happen to my friends, I know how to help them, how
Absolutely.
to how to walk them through it and what to
Mm-hmm.
advise them, what is like the best solution. Sometimes just like accepting the grief and letting it hurt is like the
Yes.
best thing you can do, and let the time heal it.
Yes. That is so true. Like you said, we go through things, and I was the first one of my friends and anyone that really I knew that lost my dad as well because
Yeah.
we were so young. Like, that's not
Mm-hmm.
normal, but it
Yeah.
happens. Life happens, and we just never know. But like you said, my one of my really good friends lost her mom last year. And it was really, again, most of my friends still have both of their parents. Some even
Mm-hmm.
have their grandparents. So they haven't
Right.
dealt with it. But here I am, 20 years removed from losing my dad, and I'm walking this journey with my friend, and she walked that journey with me 20 years ago. We just didn't know how to help each other.
Yeah.
But here I am now, removed 20 years removed from that, and I'm going, okay, this is how I handled it. This is let yourself grieve. Like you said, you learn that in hindsight, and it's really hard to accept in the moment
Mm-hmm.
to grieve a death, a loss, a change, a life change, anything. Take the time to grieve it because if it's part of you and who you are, and when things change in life, regardless of it's a death or, like I said, a life change, or when day comes that you're no longer an athlete, like it's a big change, and you need to take
Mm-hmm.
the time to adjust to it and grieve to it and handle it
Yeah.
just the best you can.
Right, yeah.
So,
I know that my friends like really struggled because they didn't know how to help me.
yes, that's
And I
hard.
think at that point I didn't even know what I needed from them. But
Right.
like now I know that like sometimes like all you can do is just like sit with them and like
Yes.
just like listen to them because they want to talk about it probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because a lot of people feel like it's some like taboo topic and they don't want to talk about it, but
Right.
I'm might be one of the few people, but I really like to talk about my dad and even like
Yes.
everything. It just makes me feel better. Yeah, I don't want it to be like the how is it called ghost in the closet or
Oh
something. What
yeah,
do you call it?
like a skeleton in the closet. Uh-huh.
Skeleton in the closet. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, that's a
Right.
great way to put it because it is a sensitive subject and it is hard. Like a lot of people don't want to talk about your dad, I'm sure. And my dad,
They're afraid. They're scared because they don't
yes,
wanna. They're
right.
scared because they
But
don't know.
also, I think it's okay to remind yourself, myself, and everybody, if someone brings them up and we do tear up and they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." No, it's okay. It's
It's still
okay.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally okay. I mean, I still love hearing someone bring up my dad. And that's happened a lot since I started my podcast for
Mhm.
sure. I've had so many people say, "Oh my gosh, your dad would just love that you did this and he'd be so proud of you."
Mhm.
And I love to hear that because I know it's true. And
Right.
it's hard to think about, like, oh my gosh, I would give anything if he was still here, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's okay if they bring it up. I love when they do, and it's okay if it makes me emotional. And
Yeah.
I think emotions are something just, it's taboo. Like the whole thing is what it boils down to is people don't want to talk about how they feel. They don't want to think about
Mhm.
things and spend time with themselves to learn who they are and why they feel this way. But it's important that we do it. It's important that we let our emotions
Mhm.
teach us about ourselves, honestly, and
Yeah.
it's okay to display it. So
Yeah. I think in sports, like showing
vulnerability. Uh-huh.
yes, it's sometimes people are scared that it's gonna come off as weakness,
Yes.
and they like I had like a lot of coaches telling me to not cry in public and stuff like
Mm,
that, to not show any weakness.
yeah,
But it's like part of life. Like,
it
yes,
is.
I am sad because I did bad in the meet,
Right.
but that's life and it's okay. And it
Absolutely.
doesn't mean that I'm not gonna come back in the next race being 100% ready.
For sure.
I'm just disappointed and sad, and
Yeah,
it's
and that's
okay.
okay. That is okay. I think people don't know how to handle other people's emotions,
Yeah.
which, like, we kind of touched on, just saying that people didn't know what to do for us when we lost our dads because they had never been there. And the best
Yeah.
thing you can do is just be present. You don't have to say
Mhm.
anything, you don't have to do anything, just be there. And I think the same thing applies just in general with emotions. Be like, I if there's anything I can do to help you deal with this, please tell me. But just, hey, I'm here for you. Just say
Yeah.
that. And I think it's important just to let people have their emotions. And I think that's also a big thing with men because a lot of men like to be Mr. Tough Guy and don't
Mhm.
want to show those emotions. And they have emotions too. We all know it.
Mhm.
Like there's no sense in hiding it or not dealing with it because you're ashamed because we're all dealing with it. So it's definitely a good reminder for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like with guys, I didn't see too many guys like crying
Yeah,
because of sport or anything. They really want to be the tough guys, but they're really going through the same stuff as us. And I
they
was even
are.
surprised how many men in college sports go through like body dysmorphia who
Oh,
are still
yes.
insecure about their bodies. And yeah, that was I was writing an essay about it, about athletes and body dysmorphia, and it's so
Mm-hmm.
surprising how many people are dealing with it when you would think that athletes would be like so confident in their own bodies
Right.
because it's everybody's dream, but it's kind of the opposite.
Yeah, it makes
Yeah.
sense. Well, I mean, you guys are in tip top shape, so to speak. For the most part, everybody you're constantly working out and eating well and taking care of your body so that you can perform better. But there's always somebody that you're going to think looks better than you or
Yeah.
is smaller than you for us girls or bulkier
Mm-hmm.
for the guys. But everybody's bodies are so different. And I think it's just important, again, just learning yourself and accepting who you are. It's okay to
Yeah.
want to be better and improve yourself, but also the comparison, like it never stops, it just,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something, there's always someone who's going to look better than you or run faster than you or have something you don't have. But yeah, just learning how to handle that in a healthy way sooner rather than later is definitely beneficial. But I know it's
Yeah.
difficult for sure.
Yeah, I think that for the longest time I always wanted to be less muscular because I did
Yeah.
gymnastics. I've always been muscular. I always
Uh-huh.
always been kind of stronger than the guys around me,
Mm-hmm.
and I was so insecure about it for the longest. Even when I was walking with my guy friend and I would have bags to carry, I never wanted him to carry it because I was like scared. What if
Right.
it's gonna be too heavy for him? And obviously it wasn't, but I was always just like so like independent. I'm like I want to do it all by
I get
myself,
it.
and
Yeah.
I'm just scared that it's gonna be too much. But I started when I have these thoughts that I want to look different, I want to be skinnier, I want to look more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
I start thinking that I should be so grateful that I have two legs, I have two arms, I can
Absolutely.
walk, I can run, and like what a blessing it is.
For
Because
sure.
not everybody is that fortunate to be born with a completely functioning body.
Right. That's so true.
Yeah,
And there's so much that happens in life. People have accidents and all kinds of stuff happens, and they would give anything to, like you said, to have the ability to run or whatever. And we take it for granted for sure. So that's
yeah,
definitely a good reminder, is just being thankful for the body that we have and the life that we have today, and making the best of it and realizing how grateful we should be for sure. It was definitely something we all take for granted. Absolutely.
exactly. It's like stop worrying about the small things and look at the
Yes.
bigger picture. Like
Yeah.
you're alive, you wake up every day with a healthy body,
Yes.
and it's a great thing.
It's something that people take for granted until they no longer have it.
Exactly.
I've heard that a lot from people, especially somebody who's in an accident and maybe they
Yeah.
lose an arm or a leg, or just people that have cancer or something like that, or an autoimmune disease, anything that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't allow their bodies to perform the way that they used to.
Yeah.
And you take for granted, like getting up and fixing your hair, taking a shower and doing everything on your own, being independent.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people can't do that, but maybe they used to, but they can't anymore. And again, like, you just take it for granted until it's gone, and then you're like, oh man, I wish I had appreciated that more. So yeah, it's just a good
Exactly.
reminder to be appreciative of where we are today for sure, and what we have.
Yeah. Yeah, 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 for
Absolutely.
sure. Yeah, I'm trying to be as grateful as possible for it
For sure.
before it's gone.
Well, and time is constantly tick-tocking away, and as you get older and college is over for you and things like that, and life will move on and life changes, all the things, and you just be grateful every day for that chapter of life that you're in today. Make the most of it, and then just roll with the punches.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm really grateful that you brought this up to me, because I do think it's an important message, obviously, for athletes and people of all stages of life. And just, again, like, just people like myself, just everyday people. Like, there's so many lessons and good reminders and things that we talked about today. So I'm definitely glad that you wanted to open up and share about this for sure.
Yeah, thank you so much for giving me the space to talk about it
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely. Anything else you want to say, or any closing thoughts or anything before I certainly want to give you all the space that I have, because it's a great
Um,
message.
I think, I don't know, I feel like we covered a lot.
I
There's
think we
obviously
did.
so much more still to cover, but
I
I
know.
think we
Yeah,
did what we could.
we did. We definitely did.